So this time management course is structured in 4 parts, and it's designed to be taken 1 part per week. So the ultimate goal of this course is to share a system that helps you to simplify, control, and deliver your workload. By the end of the course, you will understand how to connect your overarching strategic business plan to your actual day-to-day tasks, so that on a daily basis you can feel confident that you're driving your business towards well-defined, intentional, long-term goals. But there is a problem. Maybe you believe that there is a secret key, a system that once you've mastered it is going to make you so efficient that you will be able to cram everything you need to do into each day before it's home time. The fact is that good time management has to be approached from both ends. So yes, you need an excellent system and you need to commit to it. Before we start, we all need to actively reevaluate our expectations, the expectations that we have about what can be achieved and what we're feeding into that system. In weeks 2 and 3 of this course, I will share a time management system that is going to deliver a greater sense of control. And in week 4, we are going to look at advanced concepts. So you're going to be learning how to connect the high-level strategic plan that you have for your business with ground-level day-to-day activity. How you ensure that you keep pointed towards your long-term business goals, your business vision. But very importantly, before all of this, we're going to start by rethinking our relationship with time and getting our priorities straight. So here's an overview of week 1 content. First up, the major part of today's materials is philosophical. So that's everything that you see on the slide above the line. And before we wrap up today, we will also learn about the 2-minute rule, and I'm going to chat to you about time as a commodity. So turning to the philosophical, I would like you to close your eyes and imagine something with me. I want you to imagine that you have a shabby old kitchen. It's got no storage. It's got too little worktop. You find yourself blocked at every turn, and even making a sandwich is a frustrating daily struggle. Now, we're going to wave a magic wand over this situation. We're going to pack up all of your possessions, you're moving out, and the world's top kitchen design build team is moving in, and you are now in their safe hands. They transform your kitchen. They turn it into a model of clean efficiency, a masterpiece of sleek, ergonomic perfection. And it sounds fantastic, doesn't it? But then out of storage comes all your old clutter, all your half-used packages, all the specialist ingredients for meals that you're never going to cook, all the cookery books that you never look at, and all the gadgets that you never use. And before you know it, the worktops are rammed again, the cupboards are overflowing with mess, and you can't find anything. The same old feeling of overwhelm descends. Which is why the focus of week 1 of this course is dedicated to decluttering and resetting your expectations, to reframing your personal relationship with time. So as part of week 1, I want to introduce 2 thought leaders who can help us to rethink our expectations across 2 fronts. Number 1, what's actually possible? And number 2, what is it that we want to achieve? So first up is Oliver Burkeman. I would not be exaggerating if I said that reading his book, 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals, was transformational for me. It was like switching on a light. It is completely true that this book has made me happier, calmer, and more zen. Now, Oliver Burkeman is a British journalist who for years wrote a column on productivity tools. He personally trialled each and every one to report on how well they solved efficiency and time management issues. And the book presents his thoughts after years spent chasing the dream of having it all. And here are some of them. The first thought is really quite brutal, and it's the obvious fact that we are finite. So the 4,000 weeks in the title is an approximation of the average human lifespan. His first point is that we absolutely have to accept that our time is limited. We cannot have it all. This is a fallacy. You have to choose. You have to choose between what you're going to devote yourself to and what you're going to let go. So we also have to get good at saying no. We have to say no to the things that aren't on our carefully curated and limited lists of items that we've chosen. He talks about JOMO, the joy of missing out. He encourages us to live in and enjoy the present, because so many people are thinking forward to a time when they have finally got X number of followers on social media, or they've brought in a client with a budget of Y, or they've hired somebody to help them in the office. And the fact is that by the time you've achieved any of your goals, you'll have replaced them with new goals. So this time to reap what you've sown is probably never going to come. You have to enjoy the present and you have to enjoy the journey. So I'm going to come back to Oliver Burkeman, but here is our second thought leader. He is Hiram W. Smith. He's the management consultant who founded Franklin Quest. Sadly now deceased, but in the 1980s he wrote a book of essays called 10 Natural Laws of Successful Time and Life Management. So I want to talk you through a thought experiment that he invented, and it goes like this. I'm going to describe two scenarios. Scenario one is that there is a metal beam, an I-beam. It's laid out on the ground, it's on a lawn, and somebody tells you that they will give you £100 if you step up onto it and you walk along it. Now, most of us would happily agree to this. That's fairly straightforward. We're going to change the scenario now. We're going to scenario two. So we've taken the same I-beam, we've stretched it, and we've laid it across the Grand Canyon. So now if you chose to walk along it, you would be 1 mile up in the air and have no safety net. Question is, would you now still walk this beam for £100? Nobody would think that that was a good idea. So the crux of this thought experiment is, which of your principles, your goals, and your relationships are so important that you would walk the Grand Canyon I-beam just to be allowed to keep them? Once you identify these are your governing values, and you can use this knowledge to help you to filter the things that you're going to focus on and discover the things that you can allow to let go. Because you really don't have time to do everything. You cannot have it all. So most people's governing values can be sorted out under these headings: family and relationships, professional excellence and achievement, integrity and ethical living, health and well-being, contribution and service, creativity and personal growth, freedom and adventure, and legacy and long-term impact. So to wrap up part one of this introduction, here's an example of how the intersection between these two philosophical concepts can help you to prepare for the challenge of building a really constructive time management system. So before I came across Oliver Burkeman and before I read Hiram Smith's essay, I think I was actually really angry that I had art and painting, I thought, at the top of a wish list, and yet I never found the time to do it. It always got pushed aside in favour of something else, and I think I was really quite bitter at life that it wasn't delivering on this thing that I really thought I wanted to do. But when I sat down and I worked out my governing values, I realised that now is not the time for me to be thinking about that. At the moment, it's just not something that I would walk the Grand Canyon I-beam for. So, as guided by Oliver Burkeman, I've let it go. And in fact, this year, in 2025, I am singularly focused on my governing values. Now, in my case, they include, obviously, my family and friends. They feature highly as a priority the person that I want to be, and they also focus intently on my professional goals. And right now, I don't have time for much else. I've decided that for this year, those are going to be my featured focuses. And I'm really happy with that, because this clarity and simplicity brings the prospect of actually making progress. And I would rather be great at one or two things than mediocre at a wider range. So I'm nearly done with lesson 1. In the end, I'm going to give you some homework to complete before lesson 2. And as you can well imagine, a key part of that homework is going to be for you to think about your governing values, because before we move into actual time management and actual time planning, I'd really like you to prune back the items that you're going to be taking forward into that system, accepting that no system of time management is going to deliver on having it all. It just isn't. So you're going to have to come to terms with the stuff that stays on the list and the stuff that is going to come off your list. However, I don't want to finish this first lesson in time management without giving you a couple of tips. So for week 1, here they are. So the very first tip is the 2-minute rule and to-do lists. So starting now in week 1 of this course, from now on, every time you think of something that you need to do, put it on a list. Everything is going to go onto a list. And I want you to find a good place to store that list. Now, some people like pen and paper, and some people like a digital solution. I have to say, I use my phone to keep my list. I've got an app called AnyDo on there, which I think is currently, well, I'm on a free version. And the great thing about this app is you can actually drag and drop things up and down the list. You can change their position on the list according to shifting priorities. I want to stop here and be absolutely clear about this. Henceforward, it's a hard and fast rule of this world that everything that you think of that you need to do has to be put down onto a list. But there is one exception. If the thing can be done in less than 2 minutes, do it immediately, do it straight away. Don't put it on a list, just do it. So, very clear and easy. Write everything you need to do onto your to-do list, unless you can do it in less than 2 minutes, in which case, do it right away. So that's something I would like you to practice between now and week 2. I also want you to think about your time as being a commodity. This course has been written specifically for interior designers, and we sell our time. There's lots of conflicting ideas about exactly how you calculate your fees. Some people charge by the hour, some people charge percentages, and some people bundle into an overall design fee figure. But regardless of how you charge, your business is only going to thrive if you take in a minimum amount of money for every hour that you devote to it. And of course, going forward, you're going to find it really hard to assess the efficiency of your business if you don't know the ratio of billable hours to non-billable hours. So you need to know how you spend your time, and you need to be intentional about the rate that you charge per hour of the time that you spend in your business. So in the coming week, before the week 2 materials drop, I'd like you to track your time. This is going to help prepare us. This is going to make the outcome of this course so much more successful and valuable if you actually start to have an awareness of how your time gets spent. You can use pen and paper again, or you could use an app like Clockify, and I want you to log how you spend at least 3 out of the next 5 working days. How much time do you spend on social media? How much time taxiing the kids around? How much time in the gym? How much time working directly on your business, directly for your clients? And how much time focused on the business admin that you cannot directly charge to any one client? If you're interested in recalculating your hourly rate, there is a free, very basic calculator on my website, and you'll find it here. So the homework for week 1. Number 1, spend time thinking about your governing values. It's going to help you to decide which activities need to come forward and find a place in your shiny new time management system, and which activities, at least for now, you can be setting aside. I want you to find the principles that really matter to you. Number 2, I would like you to keep timesheets. I want you to record hourly exactly how you spent your time across 3 working days in the coming week. And thirdly, if you want to, you can visit my website and use the hourly rate calculator to check out the minimum that you should be charging as you bill for your design services. So, keep your eyes peeled for the week 2 course materials. They are going to be covering foundational time management principles under the heading of organising your time for maximum impact. And I will see you then.